The movie begins at a military base in North Korea, specifically in the place known as the Demilitarized Zone. One night, while all the soldiers were asleep in their spots, one of them suddenly woke up in the middle of the night. His name was Kyu Nam. He quietly left the sleeping area and started running through the base until he reached a hidden spot where he had secretly stored a map. From the way it looked, it was clear that the map showed the entire military base. After taking it, he slipped out of the base, jumped over the fence, and dropped into a tunnel. He crawled through it until he reached a place a bit farther away, then continued moving forward on his stomach. At one point, we can even see a compass in his hand. He kept moving until he finally arrived at a minefield. There, Kyu Nam pulled out the map and carefully looked at the X marks on it to figure out exactly where to place his feet. After crossing a large part of the field, he started crawling again and pulled a stopwatch from his pocket, setting it to exactly 20 seconds. As he crawled forward, with every move he made, he stabbed a knife into the ground to check whether there was a hidden landmine underneath. Whenever he located one, he marked the spot beside it so he could remember it the next time. What makes the whole scene terrifying is that the map is filled with marks, which means the entire area is packed with landmines, and every step could be deadly. Kyu Nam successfully made it through nearly 75% of the minefield without any problems, until he reached the edge and noticed some lights turning on in the distance. The moment he checked his timer, he realized he had to rush back to the base before anyone woke up and noticed he was missing. He ran back as fast as he could and made it to the sleeping quarters just in time, throwing himself onto his bed and closing his eyes as if nothing had happened. As dawn breaks, all the soldiers wake up and begin their usual military salute and daily training routine. 2 days later, the battalion leaves the base and starts sweeping the surrounding area to check if anyone is trying to escape or sneak in. As they move carefully to avoid the landmines, one suddenly explodes. At first, all the soldiers think one of their own has been blown up, but in the end, they discover it was only a poor wild boar that stepped on it. Ironically, this explosion turns out to be a lucky break for the battalion because the boar ends up becoming their dinner. At this point, we learn that Kyu Nam lives alone since his parents died when he was young, leaving him with a deep sense of emptiness inside. While he is sitting there lost in his memories, another soldier named Kim Dong enters and says, "I've seen you leaving the base every night." Kyu Nam quickly tries to brush it off, telling him that he must be imagining things, while warning him that if anyone else hears about this, they will both be killed. That's when Kim Dong begs Kyu Nam to take him along to South Korea, because he also wants to escape so he can see his mother and little sister. Kyu Nam already wants to flee himself, crushed by the oppressive dictatorship they live under, but he ignores Kim Dong and pretends not to respond. In the middle of the night, while everyone is asleep, the alarm siren suddenly goes off inside the base, signaling that someone has been caught trying to escape. All the soldiers jump up and begin searching everywhere. Kyu Nam tries to mislead the battalion by sending them in another direction, then quickly rushes to the place where he had hidden the map. But the shocking twist is, the map is gone. At that moment, he realizes that Kim Dong stole it to escape on his own. As he heads toward the edge of the fence, he finds the battalion and the commander already there, and both of them are arrested on charges of attempted escape. They begin torturing Kyu Nam, trying to force him to confess that he helped Kim Dong and that he was the one who drew the map. After the torture, the commander demands to know who made the map so they can execute him. Terrified, Kim Dong finally confesses and says, "I drew it," even though he actually knows nothing about it. At that very moment, news arrives that a high-ranking state security officer is on his way to enforce the law. When the officer arrives, he listens to the lieutenant's report, but the surprise is that he objects to Kyu Nam's imprisonment. He tells them that since Kim Dong already confessed, then Kyu Nam is innocent. He then adds that the supreme leader does not want the scandal of a soldier trying to escape to leak outside the country. So, the best solution is to announce that they have a hero named Kyu Nam, the brave soldier who captured the criminal before he could escape. And just like that, the charges against Kyu Nam are dropped, and the officer takes him to the main headquarters to honor him for this so-called heroic act. While they are riding in the car, Lim asks him if he truly ever thought about escaping, but Kyu Nam answers cleverly, saying that the idea of escape never once crossed his mind, and that all he did was capture a fleeing soldier, nothing more. Lim is extremely pleased with this answer, and tells him that he has a great future ahead of him. When they arrive at headquarters, Kyu Nam finds a grand ceremony filled with high-ranking commanders and important officials. He steps onto the stage to receive his award, but his mind is somewhere else entirely. He only wants to return to his old base somehow so he can continue his escape plan. He asks Lim to send him back, but the shocking twist is that Lim tells him he will not be returning. because he has now been officially promoted to assistant commander. At that moment, Kyu Nam is torn between happiness and despair, because if he cannot return to his battalion, his entire escape plan is ruined. He tries to come up with an excuse, telling Lim that he only has a few months left before leaving the army. But Lim responds by saying that there is no reason for him to leave, especially since he has no one left. His parents are dead. Kyu Nam realizes he is trapped in an incredibly difficult position, but he quickly starts thinking of another plan. He sneaks into the commander's office and, using a pen, manages to unlock a drawer. Inside, he takes out his new military passbook, then stamps it with the commander's official seal so he can move around freely without being questioned. The moment he gets the pass, he runs out, searching for a new escape route so he can draw an entirely new map from scratch. While scouting the area, the soldiers in the watchtower spot him, but he immediately saves himself by telling them that he is simply there for an inspection. He borrows their binoculars and starts studying the locations of the soldiers, eventually discovering a single exit route used only by the commander's vehicles. Back at the base, he finds his new superior officer drunk. He carries him over his shoulder and places him inside another commander's car, whose keys were still inside, then drives straight toward the gate. This time, he passes through safely because the military pass works perfectly and no one dares question him. A short while later, he dumps the drunk commander by the roadside and continues alone. But more trouble quickly appears. First, the car runs out of fuel. Second, he suddenly sees vehicles from the battalion approaching from the opposite direction. He gets out and approaches the commander, telling him that he needs gasoline. The commander looks suspicious and says, "How is the assistant commander of the 1st Division out here without checking the fuel or brakes? And more importantly, why are you alone without your commander?" Kyu Nam quickly improvises, claiming that he is on a top-secret mission that no one is allowed to know about. The commander replies, "Fine, but we don't have fuel here. You'll need to come with us to the Hinokbong base." Thinking fast, Kyu Nam asks, "Is that the same base where Kim Dong is being held?" That question convinces them, making them believe he truly is from state security. And just like that, he goes with them to that very base, located deep inside the Demilitarized Zone. As soon as Kyu Nam entered the base, he requested to see the belongings they had confiscated from the soldier who had tried to escape. His real goal, of course, was to recover the map, and sure enough, he managed to get it back. From there, he went straight to Kim Dong's cell and had him released using official papers and legal authority, so no one was able to stop them. But the trouble was far from over. While the soldiers were refueling the vehicle, they discovered that Kyu Nam had lied to them, and the news quickly reached the battalion commander. The commander stopped them, and Kyu Nam was fully prepared for betrayal. But the surprise was that the commander actually believed Kyu Nam and even slapped his own assistant for daring to question someone from state security. He then ordered them all to continue together. That assistant, however, could not forget the humiliation of being slapped. So he secretly contacted a real state security officer to verify Kyu Nam's identity, and that was the moment everything fell apart. At the same time, Officer Lim discovered that Kyu Nam had escaped and was impersonating an officer, so he immediately contacted the assistant in the car and ordered him to bring them back to the base at any cost. The driver and the assistant suddenly changed direction, and Kyu Nam instantly realized the trap. A violent struggle broke out inside the moving car. He pulled out a pistol. Chaos erupted, and in the end, the vehicle crashed and flipped over. The driver was shot dead, but Kyu Nam, Kim Dong, and the assistant all made it out alive. At that very moment, Officer Lim arrived and started spraying the wrecked car with bullets, trying to kill everyone inside. Kyu Nam played dead to make them stop shooting. Then, when the soldiers approached to collect the bodies, he suddenly jumped up and ran with Kim Dong, escaping through a storm of gunfire. Ahead of them, they found a river, and without hesitation, they both jumped into it. Officer Lim lost hope and returned to the base, but before leaving, he killed Assistant Bang to bury the secret forever, making sure no one would ever know that Kyu Nam escaped because of him. As for Kyu Nam and his friend, once they emerged from the water, they found themselves in an area guarded only by female soldiers. These women deeply hated any soldier from that base because their own son was imprisoned there. They were just about to kill them, but Kim Dong acted quickly and cleverly. He told them that he knew their son, Sang, and had been imprisoned with him. He even described his appearance in detail, and just like that, in the very last moment, they were granted a second chance at life. Anyway, that night, the two men sat with the women and told them every detail of how they planned to escape the prison camp. They reached an agreement. The women would help them free Sang from prison, and then all of them would escape together. They put together a plan and decided to begin at dawn. Meanwhile, on the other side, Officer Lim and the state security forces were turning the entire area upside down, searching for Kyu Nam, dead or alive, because they had to bring him back to the battalion at any cost. Lim's battalion eventually managed to reach the place where they were hiding. The moment the men realized the danger was closing in, they acted recklessly and opened fire, trying to lure the soldiers toward them and away from the women. The soldiers returned fire heavily until Kim Dong was shot in the leg and collapsed, unable to take another step. Kyu Nam refused to leave him behind. He threw Kim Dong over his shoulder and ran toward the valley. Officer Lim immediately ordered the soldiers to spread out across every corner and kill them. But before they could reach them, the women intervened, opening fire on the battalion and throwing them into complete confusion. This caused Lim and his men to scatter, leaving them totally disoriented. At that point, Kyu Nam decided that the only possible way out was to return to the base itself, because it was the only escape route he had already mapped out. As they were sneaking back inside, disaster struck. Kim Dong slipped and fell right in the middle of the soldiers who were firing. Strangely, the soldiers ignored him and pretended not to notice, almost as if they secretly wanted to help him escape. Kyu Nam quickly dragged his friend away, and the two of them hid among the formation lines without anyone noticing. When Officer Lim arrived at the base, he caused total chaos and ordered every soldier to search for them. He even promised that whoever captured them would be declared a hero. The two fugitives kept running until they entered a restaurant, because that was where the entrance to their secret tunnel route was located. But Kyu Nam suddenly fell. At that moment, one of the state security officers overheard them and gave the order to attack. Kyu Nam triggered a powerful explosion to distract them and create an opening. And it worked. They managed to escape and rushed into their hidden tunnel. But then Kim Dong made a huge mistake. While escaping, his ring fell off, and he went back to pick it up. That was when Officer Lim saw him and killed him mercilessly. Kyu Nam could not bear watching his friend die, so he revealed himself as well to retrieve the body. He was moments away from being killed too, but with quick thinking, he shot out the floodlights, plunging the area into darkness, then escaped into the tunnel and continued along the route he had mapped. Lim wanted to have him killed by a sniper from a distance, but Kyu Nam cleverly shut off all the lights in the base, disappearing completely into the darkness. Officer Lim panicked, afraid he might escape since the gate had already been opened. Then another disaster hit Kyu Nam. His compass was broken, and he no longer knew which direction to go. But he quickly found another solution. He pulled out a small radio and tuned it until he caught a signal, realizing that this was the correct direction. When he finally reached the minefield, he discovered that the rain had shifted all the explosive positions he had memorized. At that moment, he made the ultimate decision. He threw away the map because it was no longer useful and chose to risk his life completely, placing everything in God's hands. Kyu Nam kept running through the minefield, and at that very moment, Officer Lim and his soldiers arrived and began firing relentlessly at him. But not a single bullet hit him. Even with landmines beneath his feet and bullets flying all around him, he somehow managed to cross the entire field safely. He kept running to escape the zone, but then another unexpected disaster struck. He fell straight into a pool of quicksand. The sand swallowed him almost completely, and he was moments away from drowning. But he refused to give up. He kept struggling until he grabbed onto a plant branch, pulling himself out with all the strength he had left. Then he continued running until he finally reached another military zone. This was the final step toward leaving North Korea forever. In the distance, he spotted the South Korean soldiers, and joy filled his heart because freedom was finally within reach. But the moment he took one more step, he realized he had stepped on a landmine. At that very moment, Officer Lim arrived and pointed his weapon at his head. Using quick thinking, Kyu Nam managed to turn the tables and force Lim to stand on the mine instead. Lim told him, "Even if you make it there, they still won't show you mercy." But Kyu Nam answered with a powerful line, "It is enough honor for me that I chose my own path and stopped being a slave to tyranny." When Lim lifted his foot from the mine, it didn't explode because it was old and rusted. A fierce fight immediately broke out between them. Lim struck Kyu Nam hard with a baton, but Kyu Nam managed to break free and continued running toward the South Korean border fence. He reached the fence and started shouting through a communication device, begging them to save him, but no one answered. Lim then ruined everything by shooting the device and destroying it completely. It seemed like all hope was lost, but Kyu Nam refused to fail. He spotted a gate in the base that was still open and sprinted toward it with every ounce of strength he had left. Before he could reach it, Lim shot him in the leg to stop him. Even so, Kyu Nam kept crawling and fighting forward until he reached a tunnel. Only a few centimeters remained between him and the borderline. Lim fired one final shot, leaving him unable to move. But with the very last bit of strength in his body, Kyu Nam stretched out his hand and touched the borderline. At that moment, the searchlights turned on. The South Korean guards spotted him, and they rushed in to rescue him. They stopped Officer Lim from firing another shot, because one more bullet could have started a war between the two countries. Lim was forced to return to his base, while the Southern guards took Kyu Nam in, treated his wounds, and allowed him to join them. A year after all this chaos, Kyu Nam went to visit the family of his poor friend Kim Dong and gave his mother her son's necklace, just as he had promised. In the end, he applied for a new opportunity, was accepted, and finally began a new life, one where he could do what he truly wanted, by his own choice, far away from oppression and thulm. And here we've reached the end of the film. As always, don't forget to support the video with a like and a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a new movie recap.